You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Operating system hardening serves three overarching goals: reducing the attack surface, enforcing least privilege, and preserving system integrity. The attack surface is minimized by stripping away unnecessary services and features, leaving fewer potential entry points for attackers. Least privilege ensures that accounts and processes run only with the permissions they truly require, containing the damage if compromise occurs. Preserving integrity means protecting system files, logs, and configurations so they cannot be silently tampered with. When these goals are pursued in tandem, the operating system transforms from a weak link into a resilient foundation upon which secure applications and services can be built. Minimizing installed packages and services is one of the simplest yet most powerful defenses. Every service running on a host is another door an attacker might try to open. By disabling unused services, avoiding unnecessary software, and stripping non-essential daemons, organizations reduce risk before attackers even arrive. For example, a web server has no need to run print services or development libraries in production. Hardened environments maintain lean operating system builds, ensuring only what is strictly required for the host's function remains. This principle of minimalism pays dividends by reducing both vulnerabilities and operational overhead. Account management is another pillar of operating system security. Default accounts left enabled are prime targets for attackers, who often know their usernames and attempt brute force attacks against them. Strong authentication policies, such as enforcing complex passwords or multi-factor authentication for administrative accounts, raise the bar further. Equally important is removing or disabling accounts that are no longer needed, since dormant accounts are often forgotten but remain valid entry points. Hardened organizations enforce account lifecycle management, ensuring accounts are created with purpose, maintained responsibly, and removed when they are no longer in use. Secure configuration baselines provide organizations with structured guidance for system hardening. Benchmarks from vendors or groups like the Center for Internet Security (CIS) specify recommended settings for services, file permissions, authentication mechanisms, and more. These baselines create consistency across environments, ensuring hosts are configured to meet a defined security standard rather than ad hoc preferences. Hardened organizations automate baseline application through configuration management tools, validating compliance with regular scans. This approach ensures security settings are not only applied once, but also maintained as systems drift over time. Patch management at the kernel and OS level is critical for addressing newly discovered vulnerabilities. Since operating systems underpin every workload, unpatched weaknesses can have widespread consequences. A structured rollout strategy reduces risk. Patches should first be tested in staging environments, then deployed incrementally across production to minimize disruptions. Automated patching pipelines can further improve consistency, but they must include rollback plans for stability issues. Hardened organizations strike a balance between speed and caution, ensuring vulnerabilities are addressed quickly while maintaining service reliability. Remote administration must be carefully controlled to avoid becoming an attacker's preferred entry point. Secure patterns include the use of bastion hosts or jump boxes, which centralize and tightly control administrative access. Exposing management interfaces like SSH or RDP directly to the Internet dramatically increases risk. Hardened organizations restrict access by placing these services behind VPNs, firewalls, or jump hosts, applying multi-factor authentication, and logging all administrative sessions. By limiting and controlling administrative pathways, they minimize opportunities for attackers to exploit exposed management protocols. System logging and telemetry provide the trustworthy audit trails needed for both detection and forensic analysis. Logs are only useful if they are synchronized in time, so Network Time Protocol (NTP) synchronization is a prerequisite. Centralized logging agents forward records to secure collection servers, preventing tampering on compromised hosts. Hardened organizations enforce these practices so that every system produces logs aligned in time, protected from manipulation, and integrated with detection platforms. Without such controls, logs lose credibility, and incident investigations falter. File system protections provide another defensive layer. Secure permissions ensure that only authorized accounts can access or modify sensitive directories. Mount options such as no exec, no dev, or no suid limit the ability to execute binaries from certain paths or use special device files. In some cases, immutable file flags can be applied, preventing changes to critical binaries even by privileged users. Hardened organizations configure file systems deliberately, transforming them from generic storage into structured, security-aware environments that resist tampering and abuse. Runtime protections harden systems against exploitation even when vulnerabilities exist. Address space layout randomization, ASLR, makes it harder for attackers to predict memory locations. Data execution prevention, DEP, prevents execution of malicious code from non-executable memory regions. Process privilege separation ensures that even if one component is compromised, the attacker gains only limited rights. These runtime defenses raise the cost of exploitation, buying defenders valuable time. Hardened environments enable such protections universally, recognizing their power as invisible but crucial guardians. Secure boot and boot chain verification anchor system trust from the earliest stage. Secure boot ensures that only signed, trusted bootloaders and kernels are loaded, blocking malicious code before the OS starts. Boot chain verification extends this assurance, validating each component in sequence so attackers cannot inject tampered firmware or kernel modules. Hardened organizations enable secure boot wherever possible, ensuring that trust in the operating system begins at power on and extends into runtime protections. Trustworthy update mechanisms are essential for maintaining OS integrity. Packages and updates should only come from signed repositories or locked registries, with checksum verification to ensure no tampering occurred in transit. Attackers have increasingly targeted software supply chains, poisoning updates to deliver malware. Hardened organizations lock down package managers to trusted sources, disable insecure protocols, and verify signatures before applying updates. This discipline prevents updates from becoming vectors of compromise. A concrete checklist step can demonstrate OS hardening readiness before a system enters production. Administrators should confirm that system time is synchronized with authoritative sources, that a centralized logging agent is running and forwarding logs, and that baseline compliance reports show less than 5% deviation from benchmarks. This simple but structured validation ensures the fundamentals time integrity, logging, and secure configuration are in place. Hardened organizations apply such checklists rigorously, preventing unverified systems from ever joining critical production environments. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Host-based firewalls provide a localized layer of defense by enforcing traffic controls directly on each system. Default deny inbound rules are the most effective strategy, allowing only explicitly authorized services to communicate. These policies can be tailored by role. For example, a database server may accept connections only from application servers, while a workstation should deny all unsolicited inbound requests. By filtering traffic at the host itself, organizations gain resilience against both external and internal threats. Hardened environments use host-based firewalls not as a replacement for perimeter defenses, but as an additional checkpoint that limits attacker mobility. Application allow listing takes defense further by restricting execution to trusted binaries. Policies may be based on file hashes, specific directory paths, or digital publishers. This prevents unauthorized or malicious software from running, even if a user attempts to launch it. However, allow listing introduces operational challenges, as legitimate updates or new tools may be inadvertently blocked. Hardened organizations mitigate this by combining allow lists with flexible approval workflows and continuous updates. When tuned effectively, application allow listing drastically reduces the risk of malware execution, providing a powerful safeguard at the OS level. Service accounts often become overlooked security gaps. Best practices dictate that each service should run under its own unique account, with only the minimum privileges necessary. Accounts must never be shared between applications, and they should be prohibited from interactive logins to prevent misuse. Hardened organizations monitor service accounts closely, rotating their credentials regularly and auditing their permissions. By minimizing privileges and eliminating unnecessary capabilities, they ensure that a compromised service account does not provide attackers with administrative access or lateral movement opportunities. Kernel parameter tuning enhances oxygen monosulfide level resilience against misuse of networking and inter-process communication features. Parameters can disable unnecessary protocols, limit resource usage, or enforce stricter validation of connections. For example, disabling IP forwarding or tightening shared memory permissions can reduce opportunities for exploitation. These changes are typically low-level and must be tested carefully to avoid unintended side effects. Hardened organizations treat parameter tuning as part of baseline hardening, aligning configurations with vendor guidance and industry standards for secure system operation. Integrity monitoring protects critical binaries and configuration files against unauthorized changes. Tools calculate and record cryptographic hashes for files, then alert administrators if modifications occur. This ensures that attackers cannot silently alter system components without detection. Integrity monitoring is especially useful for compliance and forensic readiness, as it provides a clear record of tampering attempts. Hardened organizations deploy these systems broadly, ensuring that core operating system files remain under constant watch and that unauthorized changes trigger rapid investigation. Container and virtual machine hosts require specialized hardening patterns to ensure isolation between tenants. Shared infrastructure amplifies risk, as vulnerabilities at the host level can compromise all dependent workloads. Host hardening includes minimizing exposed services, patching hypervisors promptly, and enforcing strict role separation for administrative accounts. Hardened organizations also apply resource isolation, ensuring one container cannot monopolize CPU or memory at the expense of others. This layered defense ensures that shared platforms provide scalability without sacrificing security. Secrets and credentials stored on hosts must be handled securely to prevent leaks. Vault Solutions or Hardware Security Modules (HSMs) store sensitive material outside of application memory or disk, providing cryptographic protection and strict access controls. Service accounts or applications should retrieve credentials dynamically rather than embedding them in code or configuration files. Hardened organizations enforce secret management policies rigorously, ensuring that keys, tokens, and passwords remain protected even if hosts are compromised. Incident readiness on hosts requires that systems are prepared to support forensic investigations when compromises occur. Scripts for collecting key artifacts, secure staging areas for storing evidence, and retention policies for logs and snapshots all contribute to readiness. Without preparation, valuable data may be lost during response efforts. Hardened organizations practice forensic readiness by embedding these capabilities into every system, ensuring that evidence can be captured quickly and preserved for analysis without disrupting response activities. Rollback and recovery plans provide insurance when operating system updates cause instability. Even with testing, patches can introduce compatibility issues or performance degradation. Administrators must be able to revert systems to known good states quickly. Hardened organizations maintain rollback procedures through snapshots, backups, or version-controlled baselines. This ensures that patching does not paralyze operations and encourages timely updates, since administrators know recovery is possible if issues arise. Continuous compliance scanning ensures that systems remain hardened over time. Drift from baselines occurs naturally as administrators make changes or new applications are installed. Automated remediation can correct common deviations, such as reapplying file permissions or disabling re-enabled services. Hardened organizations treat compliance scanning as ongoing, integrating it into monitoring pipelines so that deviations are corrected swiftly and consistently. This prevents systems from gradually eroding away from their secure baseline. Documentation provides the reproducibility necessary for large-scale OS hardening. Scripts that apply security settings should be version-controlled, ensuring each system can be built identically and repeatedly. Baseline artifacts, such as configuration files and compliance reports, should also be maintained with version histories, enabling audits and rollback to earlier standards if needed. Hardened organizations enforce documentation discipline, ensuring operating system security is not dependent on tribal knowledge, but encoded in structured, reproducible artifacts. Ultimately, operating system enhancements must be understood as layered protections. Preventive measures like allow listing and host firewalls stop many attacks before they begin. Detection mechanisms like integrity monitoring and logging identify the attempts that succeed. Response capabilities like rollback, incident readiness, and compliance scanning ensure resilience and recovery. Hardened organizations embed these enhancements directly into provisioning pipelines, ensuring consistency from the first boot of a system. By making OS hardening a continuous, automated process, they transform security from a reactive task into a reliable built-in safeguard. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.